intermediate level. Unit 12.3 ya'ni oxirgi unitimizning 3-chi qismi. Vocabulary and skills development. Goals: understand linkers for surprising information, use phrases with in. Reading and speaking: understanding linkers for surprising information. Exercise 1. Have you ever had an interview for a job or study course? Tell a partner what you can remember about it. 1. When was it and what was it for? How did you feel? 3. What did you wear? And 4. Did it go well? Bu qismda siz speaking rivojlantirishga harakat qilishingiz kerak va shu savollarga javob berish orqali ma'lumot berishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Keling, endi taxminiy javoblarni ko'rib chiqamiz. Well, I had an interview for a job only once, and I will talk about it now. And when was it and what was it about? Well, it was about around 3 years ago, and it was about, well, applying for a job and getting a job as an assistant and academic support member or assistant teacher. And how did you feel? Well, I felt quite nervous because that time I was really introverted person and didn't have that much connection with people, and I didn't want to talk to people, and it was quite stressful time for me. And well, actually, it went well. And 3, what did you wear? I don't remember. It was around the end of spring, and probably I was wearing, as usual, sneakers and maybe t-shirt. And 4, did it go well? It went really well. I got the job because I was really overqualified for the job. I just had IELTS 8 and 8.0, and I was just doing assistant thing. Yeah, it was crazy. Well, I don't have any experience, so I cannot complain. So it was good. It was good training ground for my future career, which is I'm doing now. Exercise 2A. Read the information in the unlock the code box about the linkers for surprising information. Some linkers tell us about things that are not what we expect. This includes but, although, even though, despite, instead, however. Although, even though he was late for his interview, he got the job. Yani although ga qaramasdan, kechikganiga qaramasdan ishni qabul qildi, ishni olishga muvaffaq bo'ldi. Despite being late for his interview, he got the job. Kechikganiga qaramasdan ishni oldi. He was late for his interview, however he got the job. U kechikdi, lekin ammo ishni oldi. His parents wanted him to become an engineer. Instead, he became an actor. Ota-onasi injener bo'lishni xohlagandi, lekin shuni o'rniga u aktyorga aylandi, aktyor bo'ldi. Bu qismda although, even though so'zlari ga qaramasdan ma'nosini anglatib, subject verb, ya'ni ega va kesimdan oldin keladi va despite noun or verb ing yoki ega emas, ot va verbning fe'lning ing shaklini oladi. Instead, ko'rganingizdek gapni boshida keladi va however ham shunaqa. However, but shunaqa. Exercise 2B. Choose the correct option to complete the sentences. Bu qismda esa grammar focus boxdan o'rgangan bilimlarimizni ishlatgan holda bu mashqni bajarishga harakat qilib ko'rishimiz kerak va bu mashqni bajarganingizdan so'ng birgalikda tekshirib chiqamiz. Keling, endi javoblarni birgalikda tekshirib chiqamiz. 1. Although it was hot, he wore a heavy suit. 2. She went to work despite the fact that she felt ill. 3. He answered his phone even though he was having an interview. 4. I asked her to call me. Instead, she emailed me. 5. They offered me the job. However, I didn't take it. Exercise 2C. Complete the sentences with your own ideas. Bu qismda siz shu gaplarni o'zingizni fikringiz bilan birgalikda to'ldirib chiqishga harakat qilishingiz kerak. Videoni pauza qiling va bu mashqni bajarishga harakat qilib ko'ring. Keling, endi taxminiy javoblarni ko'rib chiqamiz. 1. I like my job, however, it is really tiring. 2. He bought a car even though he couldn't afford it. 3. She didn't reply to my question. Instead, she asked the question herself. 4. We went to picnic despite the bad weather. Exercise 3. Read the stories from a website for people who work in recruitment. Match 4 of the stories to the pictures. Bu qismda websitedagi stories, ya'ni hikoyalarni o'qib chiqishimiz va keyingi qismdagi rasmlarga, kitobingizning keyingi qismidagi rasmlarga to'g'rilab chiqishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Bu vaqtda o'zingizga pauza qilishingiz va bu qismni, bu stories, ya'ni hikoyalarni o'qib chiqishingiz kerak bo'ladi. O'zingiz o'qib chiqqaningizdek, bu qismda picture A is 1. The person during the interview took the phone and asked the person to leave the office to have private conversation. 4. Picture 4 is 4 because the guy made an aeroplane from paper and just flew it around. And C, picture C is 5, and when he was asked what's your biggest achievement, he just showed 26 insect tattoos. And D, picture D is 6, when the interviewer asked him to, do you need chocolate or do you need this candies? And he just stuffed the candies, stuffed his pockets with candies. Exercise 4. Read the stories again. In each story, circle a linker from the box in exercise 2A and underline the surprising information which it introduces. Bu qismda biz stories, ya'ni hikoyalarni qaytadan o'qishimiz va har bir linkerni Grammar Fox boxda ko'rgan linkerimizni circle qilishimiz kerak va bundan keyin davom etadigan surprising information which introduces. Surprising, ya'ni hayratlanarli informatsiyani ko'rsatishimiz kerak. Keling, endi birgalikda javoblarni ko'rib chiqamiz. O'zingiz ko'rganingizdek, birinchi qismda However, this guy answered it and asked me to leave my office. 2. Although he was applying for a job in sales, turned up in shorts and long shirt. 3. Even though he was applying for a job at a corporate office for a shoe company. 4. Despite the shocked look on our faces, he went up to every one of the interviewers and asked if we wanted an arm wrestle. 5. But this guy thought for a few minutes and replied, my 23 insect tattoos. 6. Instead, he took the whole ball and stuffed a handful of them into his pockets for later. Exercise 5. Which story 1 to 6 is about a candidate who accepted more of something than he was offered? B. Made an impolite request. C. Removed an item of clothing during the interview. D. Wasn't suitably dressed for an interview. E. Seemed more interested in a different job. And F. Didn't behave seriously enough in his interview. Bu qismda esa siz tekstni qaytadan o'qishingiz va shu description, ya'ni ta'riflarga mos keladigan kandidatlarni belgilab chiqishingiz kerak. Keling, endi birgalikda javoblarni ko'rib chiqamiz va A was candidate in 6. B is candidate from 1. C is candidate from 5. And D is from 2. Seemed more interested in a different job is 3, and the last one is 4. Exercise 6. Work in a group. Which story does each of you like the best and why? Bu qismda esa guruh bo'yicha ishlashingiz va oltita berilgan hikoyadan qaysi biri sizga eng yoqqanligini yoki sizga mahsul bo'lganligini tanlashingiz va sababini berishingiz kerak. Keling, taxminiy javobga ko'rib chiqamiz va my answer would be the person in story 1 because the person is really rude and his behavior is unacceptable. He is coming to an interview and he's just, when the phone rings, he's taking up the phone and he's asking me or someone else who's taking the interview to leave the room. It's just really unacceptable and it's like infuriating. I don't know what we have to do or what people have to do with this kind of people. That's why I like this story the best, and I'm just angry about it. Vocabulary. Phrases with in. 7a. Read the box about phrases with in. Vocabulary focus. The preposition in has several general meanings. For example, we use it to talk about professions. For example, in IT. Wearing things. For example, in jeans. And for talking about time or place. In a moment, in a month, in September, in an office. It is also used in fixed phrases, for example, in a loft. Exercise 7b. Add the highlighted phrases from the stories to the correct places in the mind map. Bu qismda storiesga qaytishimiz va u yerda highlight qilingan so'zlarni yoki frazalarni bu qismlarga qo'yib chiqishimiz kerak. A. Wearing something. B. Talking about a profession. And C. Talking about position in time or place. Exercise 8. Look at the fixed phrases in bold in sentences 1 to 6. Work out their meanings from the context and match them to the definitions A to F. Bu qismda biz fixed phrases, ya'ni gaplardagi o'zgarmas frazalarni o'qib chiqishimiz, frazalarni o'rganib chiqishimiz va ularning ma'nolarini A to F ga to'g'rilab chiqishimiz kerak bo'ladi. Videoni pauza qilib shu mashqni bajarishga harakat qilib ko'ring. Keling endi javoblarni ko'rib chiqamiz. 1. He never tidies his desk. It's always in a mess. It's D. Untidy. 2. There isn't time to explain the plan in detail now. B. Including many small facts. C. If I'm late again, I'll be in trouble with the boss. Well, it's A situation where somebody will be angry with you. 4. My colleague and I have lots in common. We share same birthday and live in the same street. E. Having the same interests and opinions. 5. The assistant manager is in charge of the hotel while the manager is away. It is C. Having control over something. And 6. It's easy to make mistakes if you do things in a hurry. Meaning F. Quickly. Exercise 9a. Complete the questions with the phrase which includes in and a word from the box. Bu qismda esa biz gaplarni boxda berilgan so'zlarga va inni qo'shgan holda joylashtirishga va tugatishga harakat qilishimiz kerak. Bu mashqni bajarish uchun sizda biroz vaqt beriladi. Keling endi javoblarni tekshirib chiqamiz. And 1. Do you feel as if you're always in a hurry? 2. Do you hate it if your desk is in a mess? 3. Have you ever had to speak in front of a big audience? 4. Are you in charge of your finances at home? 5. Were you often in trouble at school? 6. Do you have a lot in common with your closest friend? And 7. Would you like to live somewhere different in 5 years' time? Exercise 9b. Work with a group and ask and answer the questions. Bu qismda esa guruh bilan ishlashingiz va shu savollarga taxminiy javoblarni bajarib, berib, speakingni oshirishingiz kerak bo'ladi. Shu bilan darsimiz o'z nihoyasiga yetdi. Sizni keyingi videolarda kutib qolamiz.